Welcome back to the Bookworm Woodmakers channel. You're in for a treat today. I've been thinking about this project for quite some time. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever been driving through your neighborhood or other neighborhoods and you see these silhouettes in people's yards? You know, like the Santa climbing up the chimney or the witch hitting the side of the house with the broomstick, or even the silhouettes out in the yard with angels or soldiers or reindeer and things like that. Ever wonder where they get them from? Well, it comes from a company called the Winfield Collection. You can actually go to thewinfieldcollection.com and view their catalog, or if you're like me, traditional, have them send you a catalog. But today, what we're going to be doing is a moose family. It consists of a papa, a mama, and a baby. Well, I'm only going to do the mama and the baby. Why? The papa takes 3 sheets of plywood, where the mama and the baby only take 2 sheets of plywood. And that's coming up next on the Bookworms Woodmakers channel. The Winfield Collection is filled with a lot of woodworking projects, from silhouettes to furniture and even tabletop designs. It would take me a good half hour just to scratch the surface of what is offered by the Winfield Collection. I obviously have the Christmas edition. The company was established in 1984, and with about a staff of 20 people, they work on design and distributions of these patterns and publish and send out approximately 5 catalogs a year. Now, these are full-size patterns you get with easy to follow instructions, which means don't be like me. Read and follow the easy to follow instructions. Read and follow the easy to follow instructions. So, as you can see, it is a full-size pattern. And what I love about this is, not only is there a list of material as to what you need, your wood, your hardware, your tools, and your supplies, and even your paint, but they also give you pictures on how to lay this out on your plywood so that there's less waste. What company does that? That's awesome. And of course, over here is the project instructions. And here is a way to put the project together. Now, because this is only a 2-sheet instruction. There's the first one, and there's the second one. They also give you pictures on how to lay this out on your plywood so that there's less waste. What company does that? That's awesome. And of course, over here is the project instructions. And here is a way to put the project together. Because this is a 2-sheet instruction, you've got the first sheet here and the other sheet here. We have to do what we normally do at the Bookworm Woodmakers channel. Pop on down to our local photograph place to have these copied so that we can do this job. Well, I'm back from my print center copy place that I go to. One of these days I'll be able to introduce you to Frank. He's my favorite guy. He's always there. But I want to make sure he's okay with being on camera before I do something like that for him. This pattern, even though it's 2 pages, it required 2 copies of each page. Ran me about $82. Your cost could be higher or lower depending on where you live at. And it's a nice project for you to be able to do and use through the Christmas season. Or if you're a vendor or a crafter such as myself, you can actually make templates out of this so you don't have to keep making copies. Just slap your template down onto the wood, trace around it, and go to town. Well, I really don't think that you want to sit here and watch me cut up very long sheets of paper, so I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back as soon as that project is completed, and we'll go on to the next step. All right, I have it cut out and I have it preliminarily laid out on the wood. Now, some issues here, I'm going to have to trim a little bit of this so that way there I can see this. But the key thing here is I cut these slightly oversized. I don't want to cut right on the line here because of the curve. So when I cut these out, I'm going to cut these wide just to get them into more manageable pieces. And if we go down here and look at the actual layout, here, I don't know if you can see that on camera, there we go. It's not matching up with the way I have my board. Maybe I didn't get a 4x8, or maybe I didn't do something right, I don't know. If you do this project and you're able to lay it out in that configuration, leave me a comment in the section below and let me know what I did wrong. So the next thing to do is glue all these pieces to this wood. And again, I'll save you the torture of seeing that, and just do that and come back on camera when it's completed. Okay, it's all glued down. Now, I started noticing when I glued down that the pieces were actually fitting the way they were supposed to fit. However, one of the things I'm going to recommend when you get this is once you make your copies, iron your patterns down, especially after you cut them out. And as I said, don't cut them too close to the line. Leave some space so when you lay these out, if you have to cut and trim a little bit, you can, so that way there, none of these lines cover up the lines of the other things you need to cut. So again, I'm not going to bore you with cutting this big sheet of plywood apart. I'm going to do that off camera and then we'll come back. Well, I have all the parts cut out, and I even went ahead and drilled the 3/8" diameter hole for the rope, because what you're going to do is you're going to push a loop through this hole, knot it on this side, and then stake it on the back side on all the legs to hold the project into the ground so that the wind doesn't blow it over. So it's time to sand. There you have it. I'll be taking down the camera and giving you a more intimate look. And I'll go over what I liked about this project, what I didn't like about this project, and some of the pitfalls you need to be aware of when you're going to do this project. And I'll explain why I didn't do the big bull moose. Well, it's done. Thank God. A lot of you are going to ask why I didn't do the bull moose. And the simple fact of why I didn't do the bull moose is, as big trucks go by, the simple fact of why I didn't do the bull moose is because I'm self-employed. I'm an expediter. So I take packages to different states. I'm pretty much on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I can find myself in Florida tomorrow, or Alabama, or in Kansas. You know, it's just the life of an expediter. And also, 90 to 95% of all my woodworking projects are actually done outdoors. It's what I like, although sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate with me. And of course, time is a big essence. With it getting into being the fall, the temperature's really not that good enough to be able to paint stuff and only give it an hour or two to dry. Sometimes you have to paint it, run it inside, let it stay overnight for the paint to actually bond to the wood. So how long did it take me to make those two? Well, my last production was October 10th, and today is November 8th. That's how long. Of course, again, coupled with work, weather, and the time to be able to do this are all contributing factors. Now, what I like about this project is it was very easy to follow instructions. I really can't believe how easy the instructions are. Cut the paper up, lay it on the wood, spray paint, tack it down, and make things happen. The other thing that I liked about it is the tolerance level for the slots for it to fit together. I was kind of worried when I was doing all the painting that I was really taking away some of the tolerance level to be able to slot this together, but it went through and got together beautifully. What I didn't like about this project is the pattern layout took extremely too long. Even though they give you a pattern, I had, for the initial cut of the bodies and the ears, that layout took me about 2 hours to be able to do that on the plywood. With the legs, after about 3 hours, I just went out and I got myself an additional 2 by 4 foot section of plywood to cut one remaining leg. Now, it could be that I was doing it wrong. It could also be that I didn't have a true 4 by 8 sheet of plywood. I don't know. But in the long run, I had to wind up going out and getting another 2 by 4 sheet of plywood. Now, the other thing is I cut this all out with a skill saw. I don't have a bandsaw yet. Rockler, if you're listening. Anyways, so one of the problems I ran into was I had cut my patterns close to the line, because the whole idea was to just cut it out close to the line, take it over to the sander, and then sand the edges flush with the line. Unfortunately, as I was using the skill saw, it peeled up the edge of the paper and got jammed underneath there, and I kind of had to eyeball where I was going to cut. And I think I did a pretty good job of it. So, maybe a bandsaw would be a better product to use, but if you don't have one, you can simply do this with a simple skill saw. Now, the other thing I'm going to say, and this is neither a negative nor a positive, but there's some parts of this project that definitely require 2 people. I pretty much did all of this by myself. My other half helped me bring the product in last night for it to dry its final drying, but I took it all out and I set it up, and it's not in its final position yet because I'm not the one to say where it's going. We did agree in that area, but once she gets home and she's able to put it the way she wants to, which will require 2 people, and then we get the spotlights on it, then I'll be able to take the glamour shots. Well, that's it for this episode of the Bookworm Woodmakers channel. We still have to set it up, get the spotlights on it, so the glamour shots will happen after this. Now, because of my business that I run, you're going to need to be subscribed and hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next exciting episode of the Bookworm Woodmakers channel. Stay tuned. I've got some awesome products coming up. The other thing is, I've got a lot of indoor products that I need to make and manufacture, and I want to know in the comments below if you want to see those. Now, they're not necessarily out of a book. They're just ideas that come out of my head to resolve issues that I have currently in my home, as well as my 2 workshops that I have. So if you want to see those projects, let me know. Maybe I can include them in on this channel or create a second channel for you to look at. But let me know in the comments if you want to see it on this channel or another channel, or if you want to see them at all. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed. This is Jeff with the Bookworm Woodmakers channel.